Hi guys, and welcome back to Alistair Davies Golf. Today's video is all about swing thoughts, and in particular, do the best players in the world have swing thoughts? And I've read certain things about certain players and what they think, and I'm also very lucky to have friends that are golf psychologists that have worked on the European Tour and worked with Pga Tour players. So I've had their counsel to ask their opinion in it. And also, I've worked with a few players on the Ladies European Tour and also a few Challenge Tour male players. And also, I'm going to share my own experiences of swing thoughts also. So what this video really is about is, what should you think when you're hitting golf balls and playing on the golf course? And do swing thoughts kind of help your performance? And again, it's kind of a little bit of an invisible thing, but I'm going to give you a little test or task to do that's going to work on seeing if you think certain things, how they affect your performance and how you can kind of rate it, and then use that then to go to the golf course and use these swing thoughts to improve your performance yourself. So I'm going to use my phone, particularly because I've got a lot of comments here from the psychologists that I want to talk to you about as regards to what people think, different players think. So I'm not going to name the players because I don't think that's very fair. But these are all highly skilled, successful players, mostly on the European Tour, and also I'll share some of my other ones on top of that. So some of the players have what we call external movements, where they think more about the target and they perform really, really well. So for example, one of the players with his wedges particularly will feel a lot more target focused than he will do with his other clubs. And the same player with his driver will think much more about his body turns and give him that flow with the driver. You'll also sometimes think about is moving his head to the left of the golf ball, again to stop the head dropping back and stop him getting too much from the inside, I would guess. That's a very common poor pattern with a good player, so the head moving forward. But they'll have one single thought like that, either the head moving forward or turning. Again, Tiger used to think of the target. He used to, this is reportedly anyway, I've never spoken to him about this, but he used to take a picture of the target with his kind of brain and eyes and keep that picture in his head stored from a visualization point of view and think of that only when he swung. Another player would think mostly about his hands and where his hands were in space and time during impact, particularly. Seeing how his hands would attack the ball from the inside arc and hit the golf ball on that inside part of the golf ball. That would be their swing thought. One of the other players, when he chips, for example, will think only of his right hand, where his right hand is traveling and what angle it's at. Nicholas, apparently, I'll use this to name this player because obviously Nicholas is probably been read, used to use his hands, no hands and body turn only. Different players will have different thoughts of different parts of their game. Some might think about the line on a putt, for example, just seeing the line of the ball going on. Others will think of the front of the golf ball to improve contact. If we go to someone like myself, for example, I like to have one technical swing thought. And what I'll think of, particularly in my game, is when I'm swinging back, I'm trying to feel I stay in my bent condition, I stay bent over. So I try and feel that my shoulder tends to go down to the golf ball on the way back, and then I commit. And I encourage players quite often to try the difference between like a target or a ball flight or an outcome and technical thought or even breathing. So some players I've worked in the past, we've thought of kind of breathing in on the backswing, breathing out to contact. And that gives you a timing for your golf swing also. And if your breaths don't match where you are in space and time, then it's more of a rhythm issue also. So the task then, if you like, what I want you to go away with and try, I want you to go to a practice area and you can do this little game. And the game I want you to do is what I call a 2.5 yard game, where we have a 5 yard gap. And what we try and do is hit 5 balls in that gap with a certain club, 6-iron in this case. And what I want you to do with that is try a swing thought for the first task and see how many shots it takes you to get the balls in the gap. Now, if you try a different swing thought and the number of balls reduce, and I'll try this over a few days, then we know that swing thought is more successful. Whether that be target-oriented, so just the gap, or whether we think of something we're working on your golf swing. For example, you might be working how your right arm folds. That might be the swing thought only. You might work on your rotation, so turning behind the ball. You might work on extending through the golf ball. So various different things you can try. But think about your golf swing and what you want to try and change in your golf swing, and use that as a swing thought and see how the results fare. Try then thinking of nothing at all, see how the results fare. Try thinking of the target or the ball flight and see how the results fare. And if one gives you a higher success rate than the others, then that's the one you should go out and try in the golf course for a few rounds and see how that improves your performance. So, quick example of that. So, as I said, myself, I think of my body, my backswing. I try and feel my body stays kind of bent over. And I feel commitment. So I'm going to take my setup here. The body stays bent over, then I commit through the shot. So I would test that with the game and see how that performed in relation to more external focus or target focus. So when we're thinking of our body, it's much more of an internal focus. Okay, but the long and short of this video is really that most top players will think of something, whether it be the ball flight or a swing thought. Now there are some people that like the school of thought of thinking absolutely nothing. For some players this works, but the difficulty in it for me, I find, is that you might well get distracted quite easily. Because when you're trying to think of nothing, you can have outside influences affect you a bit more. But again, test and see what works for you. If you don't like the idea of doing the game, just rate each shot out of 10 and look at the average rating for 5 shots with different swing thoughts. And again, as my motto is, we try and base everything on evidence. So if the evidence says this works best for you, then go ahead and do that. So I hope you like this little insight into some of how tour players think on the golf course with regards during the swing action. Go out and see how it affects you. We don't want to overthink is an important thing. So maximum kind of 1 thought or 2 at the most extreme, kind of commitment being the kind of second thought. So 1 swing thought and then kind of through. That would be the most I'd want you to think. See how that affects your performance. Make sure you don't get distracted by anything else. Post any comments you have in the box down below. Hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please click like and please subscribe. I've got regular content coming every single week. And thanks for watching.